Okay, 7 o'clock on the dot. Let's get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to a faster way to design native gardens with Native Garden Planner. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the tool, a little bit about how it came to be and how it can help speed up your planning process for your gardens. And then we're going to dive in and plan a small pollinator patch together in the tool. But before that, I just want to give a big thank you to Big Blue Stem Farm for putting this on and setting up this whole event. They're a really fantastic resource for finding plants in the Illinois and Michigan areas. And they have these really cool like infographics, and they have videos, breakdowns of plants. They're a really awesome website, and Ken is doing some pretty amazing things with the ambassadors. So just wanted to give a shout out and a big thank you there. Their website is here, bigbluestemfarmmi.com. But yeah, okay. So welcome gardeners. I think we have people here from, let's see, I have a list of orgs. We have people from Wild Ones. We have people from the Native Plants Guild. We have people from the Michigan Nursery and Landscape Association and the Newaygo County Environmental Coalition as well. So it's really great to have you all here. In addition, I just wanted to say, as we create this garden today, if anybody wants to follow along and plan a garden for yourself in your own space, a little pollinator patch of your own, you are absolutely encouraged to do so. That way, as I go step by step through the site and its features, if you run into any questions, you can just drop them in the chat, and I'll stop it and check periodically to see if there are any questions, and I can answer them there. So anybody who wants to do that, we're going to have some time while I go through a little bit about the tool for you to go to nativegardenplanner.com and sign up. Otherwise, if you just want to watch the demo and be kind of a fly on the wall, then kick back and relax. Either way is great. Welcome everybody again. Happy summer. If you're anything like me, you're probably enjoying the start of your midsummer bloomers. My coneflowers literally just came in this past week. And yet you're probably already thinking of new places in the yard that you can fill up with plants for next year. Let's do this though. For anybody that's able, drop a comment in the chat of your favorite plant that you're growing this year. Just to kind of, I want you guys to be engaged as I go through the live stream, and just so that, you're a part of the experience as we go through it. So for me, I am just going to go ahead and put in my blue star plant. Because it really exploded this past spring. And I was shocked by how vibrant the pale blue colors are. I'd only ever seen blue star in photos. I'd never seen it in person. So when mine finally bloomed, I was obsessed. So I was really excited about that. Okay, not too many comments. That's okay. People are shy. Moving on, I guess. A little bit about myself just before we get started. All right, thank you. From another Hannah, Prairie Doc. A bit about myself. My name is Hannah Mahan, and I'm the founder of Native Garden Planner. I am a software engineer by trade. I've been working in software for over 11 years. I got into native plants a couple of years ago when I was planning my own garden, and I was just really frustrated by the lack of tooling around it. So I was compiling lists from a million different places. I had them in Excel, I had them in Evernote, I had them on scraps of paper, and then I would try to plot them out on graph paper, and it was really slow, and making adjustments was very hard. And then when I wanted to get a feel for how they would look next to each other, I really didn't find a tool that could do that besides Microsoft Paint and, pictures I found on the internet. So I thought, maybe I can do something here. So then I built Native Garden Planner in 2024. I launched it in January of 2025. And here we are in July of 2026 with over 5,000 users. So it's really been incredible how the native plant community has sort of come to it and found value in it. So that's been exciting. But what is it? So Native Garden Planner is a lightweight drag and drop garden builder with a built-in native plant only catalog and more. But that's kind of the short gist. So it's one place that you can go to that eliminates the need for those disparate other systems. So if you need to know what plants work for you, you just filter the catalog for your conditions. If you want to measure your space as it is in the real world, you can toggle on the map layer and draw your space, draw your garden beds over top of the map, et cetera. So that's kind of the gist for what it is. You can group your plants into lists and save them. You can have notes on your garden as it evolves over time. So the idea is it's one place where you can go to plan an entire garden. So there's a couple things that I think it does really, really well that I want to highlight. The first thing is it's built for rapid design iteration. So you can swap plants in place, you can move things around, you can draw complex polygons to scale, you can fork or copy your design to test out different versions, all to get closer to that idea that you might have in your head of what you want your garden to look like. The next thing that I think it does really well is it has a pretty low entry and a high ceiling. So it's simple enough for a hobbyist, but it also packs in some advanced features. So all of the simple things like the ones we've been talking about, drag and drop, but it also has, multi-layer support. It has maps and satellite view. It has custom imagery and custom plant libraries and advanced exports for rendering engines. It has garden templates and modules, not even to touch on some of the features that are built specifically if you're an organization or a small landscape design firm. So today, obviously, we'll be focusing kind of on that low entry part, just the basics. But I did just want to call out that it kind of scales up pretty nicely. And then the last thing that it does very well is it was made for native plants, and this is valuable both for kind of that, native focus that you get from the catalog, where the catalog is only natives and it has considerations for things like what your region is and things like that. But it's also for the community of people that you're joining. And this is something that's really important to me. It's something that I really take to heart because everything that I build is for people like you to use it to get more plants in the ground. So like for instance, let me see if I can quickly navigate to, we'll just come back. I have a whole section of the site where for feature requests, and it's pages and pages long, which I'm very fortunate to. This is my to-do list, so I basically serve the community here. You can also, contribute plants to the catalog if something is missing. You can view gardens that other people have made publicly, and you can heart them and save them. You can share links to them. You can share links to your own gardens as you're building them out. What else? You can filter this page by plants or gardens that contain a specific plant. Oh, nice. We have this is a relatively new feature. So yeah, you can see what people are making, the kinds of crazy things that they're doing. And then you can also, for a specific plant, you can comment on it and explain your specific experience with it. So all that to say, I really want this tool to be, of value to this community because it's my passion project first. Okay, let's see. Yes, we did that. Speaking of real people, I thought this was cool. Somebody sent me a plan that they made on Native Garden Planner, and then they built the actual plan. So this is one of the pages on the export document that they get. And then they sent me a picture of the planting, and then they sent me the picture of the final project. And I just thought that was really cool. So I wanted to highlight that before we got going. But getting back to today, we're going to be focusing on that kind of low entry basics, simple example just to help get everybody acquainted with the planner. So without further ado, here we go. Let's go back. The first thing I'm going to do is just sign in, and that's what I'm going to do over here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to create a garden. And here you can see we have a bunch of templates that you can start from if you like the shape of one and you just want to tweak a couple things, or you just want to play around with it and see what it can do. You can copy it into your own and start playing around with it. But today we're just going to start from scratch. This is just going to be a simple pollinator patch, and it's only going to be 8 feet long and 4 feet wide. If I was designing a residential property or something that had multiple garden beds or walkways, I would enter the dimensions of the entire space. But for today, since it's only going to be one garden bed, we can just use the dimensions there. We're going to skip address because we're not going to cover maps. And then for growing conditions, I'm not going to fill all this out, but I am going to enter my state, which is Maryland. And then the fact that it's going to be full sun and it's going to be a dry bed. And that's all I'm going to fill out, and I'm going to hit go. And so now I'm on this page, and this is the planner. So just as a little, geography of this page, on the left, we have this sidebar. The sidebar is for managing things within your garden and adding plants. And then this is the main canvas. If you hear me refer to a canvas, this is your canvas or your workspace. And then over here on the right is the control panel, where you can manipulate the canvas and also do things like, save a copy, share a link, take a screenshot, or export. So those types of things. So, okay. Now, I think what we're going to do next is we're going to hop right into the plants because I want to show everybody the catalog. So on the sidebar, there's this little icon of a plant with a plus button. And if you hover over it, it says browse. This is your plant catalog. So this is how you add plants into your space. So as you can see, because I filled out full sun, dry soil, and my state, these are already applied by default. But I realized I've forgot to add one more, which is it's got to be good for pollinators. So I'm going to come down here and you can see there's tons of filters that you can drill down into if you really want to. We can look at some of these here. So there's some that we saw earlier. I definitely want straight native. So we're going to do that. Plant type, that's, shrub, tree, bush. Plant size, that's your dimensions. Appearance and timing is like, what is the color of the flower? What's the foliage color? What does it look like in the winter? I'm going to leave all this blank because I want to give myself as many options as possible. And I am going to select good for pollinators, and that's what we'll do. And then I think for now, I'm going to start with a perennial because I just want this to be a flower patch. Okay, so now that I have all of that, I am going to scan through. And as you scan through this catalog, it tells you how many results you have for your filters. And you can also toggle between these illustrations and the photos of the real plants themselves, which is helpful for, seeing how they look in the real world, and also seeing combinations of plants next to each other, like as they would grow. But I like the illustrations for now. So I'm going to toggle back to that. And I'm also going to start with a relatively tall plant because I have probably room for maybe 2 rows here. So I'm going to do, something taller in the back and then shorter in the front. So I'm going to do anything from 2 to 8 feet. And that gives me some options. So you can see here, this sunflower, for example, this pale leaf woodland sunflower, 3 to 6 feet. There's a range. When it gets added to the garden, it will assume kind of like the largest that it will be to help you plan for like your end state of the garden. We can talk about how that can be overwritten, but for now, let's just go with what we have. So let's say I want to start with something like Blue Star, which again, I love. So I'm going to click on it just to kind of read more about it. But if you saw when I hovered over it, there's the option to add plant. We'll come back to that. You could add it right now. But if I just want to find out more about it, I can click it. And then I get this side panel that comes up. I have upvoted it. That's me. And you can see more about this plant. So it blooms from April to June. It's roughly blue. It's clump forming, blah, blah, blah. I won't read this all out. And you can see kind of a snapshot of what it looks like if somebody has reviewed it. That's me again. And then its native regions. So yeah, let's start with that. I'm going to add it to my garden. When I add something to the garden, whether I'm dragging it into the garden or I click that add to plant button, either way, you're going to enter what's called stamp mode, which, true to its name, it just turns your cursor into a stamp where you can click to place any plant. So let's say I'm going to put this in the top right. Great. Now that's there. If I wanted to continue to stamp around, I'm just going to do one. But if I wanted to, I could continue, clicking and clicking. So now this is in my garden. You can see when I hover over it, it has this little hover state. And then if I click on it, this extra little pop-up menu appears with a bunch of these options. Again, I'm not going to go over every single one, but you can click around and see what some of these do. There's some bring to front, send to back stuff. If you want to enter stamp mode again, you can do place more of this plant. And let's say I wanted to do that. And then I say, I don't really want 2 of those. I'm going to swap it with another plant. That's another option that you can do. So now when I come to the catalog, because I said I wanted to swap, this little button up to the top left, it now says swap instead of add plant. So I can just show you what that looks like. Let's do Canada Goldenrod. And there it is. That one ended up actually being like a very similar size. But there are times when the size will change roughly based on what you have. But back to the catalog. Great. Now I have kind of like a spring bloomer. You can see down here, this is the bloom calendar. So as you fill your garden with different plants, you'll be able to see kind of what's blooming during different months of the year. So let's say I wanted to balance this with like a true summer blooming plant. I could add some bergamot. And let's do 1, 2, 3. Now, when we look at the calendar, you can see they overlap for a bit in June, and the Monarda is blooming in July and August. So I can also, if it gets unwieldy because I have a large garden, I can click on the month and it'll highlight the plants in the garden that are in bloom at that certain time. So that's another just kind of at a glance feature. Great. Okay, so now we've got some of these plants. Let's say I want something a little bit smaller now. I can use this quick filter over here and just deselect the taller one and maybe include a smaller one. Now I have some different options. Let's see. Let's do some Eastern Red Columbine, always a favorite. Or maybe let's do some white. So now I can add this, maybe let's put this one over here. And then just for fun, let's do some symmetry and put this over here. At any time, if I want to zoom out, I can use Control minus or Command minus, depending on what system you have. You can also do plus to zoom in. And then if you ever get lost and you zoom way out, because you can also use your mouse to zoom in and out. If you ever get really lost, you can hit this button here, which is Fit to View. And that just bounces you back to where everything in your garden is in view. Okay, so let's take these. I'm going to say I want to swap this mint after all to my columbine. So let's swap that there. Great. Okay. So now I have these kind of on either side. I can also Control C and Control V to copy and paste if I want to. So I can move these around a little bit. Let's say I want to copy and paste all 3 of these. I can do that too. You can hit backspace to delete. But let's go back here and maybe add some more filters for something that we want in specifically. So I'm looking at my bloom calendar. It'd be really nice to balance this with, a fall bloomer. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Bloom time, let's look for something that blooms in September or October or November. Any one of those would be fine. Okay, great. Yeah, aster, no surprise. Got some Hoary Mountain Mint. That's a good one too. I have that in my garden. Orange coneflower, always a fave. Let's add that one. We can add that maybe, how tall is this? We can look at this, 1.5 to 3. Maybe this goes in the front here and here. And then we move these over a little bit. Let's do that. Okay. Yeah. We could probably do one more plant in the corner and then maybe some low ground cover plants here. So now we have something that blooms in the fall. Let's add a goldenrod to the back. And then now I want something really small for the front. Let's come back here and just do one of these two. Let's even take that out. What do we have here? That's right, because all of these plants, remember, are filtered by the rest of our conditions, including that good for pollinators. What if we took that off and just said, the ground cover doesn't have to be good for pollinators? Oh, wow. Okay. So that's what we got. That's okay. What does this one look like? Oh, cool. I'm not familiar with this one. Oh, you know what? I think I went to a seed swap where somebody was selling this, but I had never heard of it. Self-heal. I like it. So now we can put these here. Let's say we move everything back a little bit. And yeah, here's our pollinator patch. So let's say I like this for now, but let's say I wanted to make some changes without affecting this. Let's go into this. And before maybe we do that, let's open up the export so you can get a sense for what you can print out and take to your implementation team. So here we have, kind of the rendering that we just saw. And over here you can see these snapshots. There are other key types of images that are being automatically generated for you. So one of them is this illustration, which we have here, but plan is going to be kind of this view where all of the plants are just circles with their illustration as a silhouette and a label. And then preview is it has those real images, or if there's no real image attached to it that it can find from Wikipedia Creative Commons, and it falls back to the illustration. And then the building spec is kind of like the grid overlay with the centers, so you can see how far each of those are from the corner of your garden bed or wherever. And then as you scroll down, let's just make sure all of the images are in there. You get kind of your bill of materials where it tells you how many plants of each kind are here, mulch estimates. We didn't assign a material or a surface to them, so there's no mulch estimate. And then we have, any scent to goldenrod. This is our bloom schedule, and these are all of the plants we have with kind of their breakdown. But let's say I want to go back to my pollinator patch. Let's say I did want to add kind of a background. You can click add surface, and here now it has, garden soil as a default. But if this was a much larger design and I had walkways, I could change this to wood chips or wood. Let's make this smaller, or bricks, or any of the options that you see here. You would also, if you have like a paid subscription, you would have the ability to upload your own surface pattern. So if you're working with real materials from Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever you get them, you could upload kind of that tile image that they have to see how it would look in your design. Okay, but getting back to our kind of rapid iteration, let's say I want to test a different version of this. Let's call this V2. All right, now let's check. Yep, now I'm on V2. So let's say I want to swap out this Monarda. It's as easy as copying the garden. And look, all of our filters are still applied, the default ones. We just go back to perennial, and I can swap in, say, where's the other blazing star, the real blazing star? Let's type in and look for that. Or butterfly weed. Swap. And there it is. So you could continue doing this with as many different versions as you want. You can undo. Let's go back. Let's swap. I want to get some coneflower. Oops, that's a typo. Oh, great. I guess purple coneflower isn't meant for dry soil. Let's try blazing star. All right, let's swap it for that. Nice. Now I have another version. So this is kind of the gist of how quickly you can take a single garden and create many, many different versions of it. Every time you create a new version, you can come back to your My Gardens page and see kind of what it'll look like. This preview image will update basically every, I think, 30 seconds. So we're probably just a little early for that. But yeah, as you can see down here, like when I swapped these out, you can still see that this updated to show the different plants at the different times. And I can see kind of a list of everything I have over here in my garden. Layers is something that we can get to if we want, but this is where you would handle kind of more complex organization strategies, like showing phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, or locking the structures like your existing house and any existing plants and things like that. Let me see. I just want to check in on the chat to see what people are talking about. Okay, we have 2 questions. The first is, I'm viewing on my phone, so I can't read the screen well. Does it mention the level of growing aggression or spread in the description? Yes, here's what it can offer in that regard. So if you scroll down, there is, is it displayed? I'm not sure it's displayed, but you can filter by it. One of these advanced filters is growth behavior, and you can filter for clump forming, rhizomatous, everything that you see here. So it's not necessarily just like a fast or slow. It has the type of growth behavior. And then another warning that it has is if it's considered invasive outside of its native range. And that is kind of like a good indicator as well for something that grows really fast. Like I think Canadian goldenrod is definitely tagged with this. I think that's the only one that comes to mind immediately. The other question I see is other shapes, triangle. Oh yeah, here are the shapes that you can do. So, everything that you see here, if we wanted a triangle, let's zoom out a little bit. You can do that, from, if you can see this menu in the top right, you can specify a specific side. If you don't want to deal with the dragging. Definitely triangle though. Let's see, what else do we have? Half circle, teardrop, diamond, freeform, polygon. Oh, line. If you just want a line, just to give yourself an idea of kind of, I know this is going to come out to a certain point. I just want to save that for later. That's available to you. Freeform polygon is kind of like where a lot of the good stuff is, a lot of the power comes in. So I can do, shapes like this, which are just like polygons, but I can also create curves with it. So same rough shape. If I want to do this, I don't want to spend too much time here, but I can click and drag to create that curve. And then I can come down and I can just kind of keep continuing to build curves. And then I have this nice like swoopy border garden view. This, I will say, like takes a little getting used to. So I don't want to spend too much time on it unless that's where we want this to go. But while we're here, I can kind of touch on some of the other things that it can do. This add menu is how you add anything else to the garden. So let's get rid of my line. Let's say I wanted to add labels to every single one of my excuse me, plants. I can tag it that way by selecting a plant and hitting that label. And then over in this menu that pops up, I can show a line for it and then drag that back to the plant. And then there you go. Anywhere it goes, you know that this is Blue Star. I can also just add a random label right here. And I can say, what do I want to call this? I'll call this special triangle. And there we go. And I'll bring that over and put it over my triangle. And then let's see. Other things worth noting. Probably an image. Right now, the entities that you can add to the garden are basically shapes, plants, labels, and images, and maps, and brushstrokes. So just to quickly highlight, it's just a brushstroke. It works how you expect. You can change this to one of the patterns. Like if you're getting frustrated with the freeform polygon builder and you're like, I just want to draw it, you can use this brush. And then you can set the pattern to, stone or brick or whichever. And then you can draw directly on your path. Here's my brick walkway and fill it in. And there it is. So, lots of options available to you. The last thing is this image that you can add. So you can click here. Oh, you know what? I don't have one ready. Let me see. Let's find one. I'll find let's say I want to find a picture of like a patio table, top down image. Yeah, sure. This looks great. I know you guys aren't viewing what I'm viewing. I'm just finding an image on Google Image so that I can add it to my garden. Okay, let's see. No, it's not a PNG. Yeah. All right, let's find another one. All right, let's try this one. Awesome. Okay, so now that I've added my picnic table, I have the option just to add it with the default scale, and then I can change the scale in the canvas. Excuse me. Or I can scale it right now. So I can say, I actually know how big this is. And I know from here to here, roughly, is 6 feet. And I want this to come in at full opacity. Now it's 6 feet. And you can kind of verify that with the grid in the background. So that's a good way to add in objects that aren't in the catalog, things like, arbors or bird baths from a top-down view, or other objects that might be in a garden that just aren't available to add, like plants are at the moment. So yeah, that's kind of like a crash course in some of the features and tools that you might add on for a regular project. I will leave it to you guys. Do you want to create another garden, another pollinator garden from scratch, or would you like to explore a more complex garden? If anybody wanted to answer in the chat, that would be great. Otherwise, I can just decide, and we will be making another garden. All right, we got one vote for complex. Let's do it. So I think we can scroll through my gardens. I have made many. I think one of my favorite ones that I've made is way down here. Many gardens. Okay. Let's look at this one. All right. So this is an example of a yard if you wanted to change it into to take away your yard and plan like a meadow. So all of these are kind of in clusters. There's a bit of matrix planning here where there's a hefty amount per square per 10 by 10 block. And the thing that I like about this is it really shows how the bloom calendar can be effective, and you can see how different parts of the yard kind of come alive at different points. So yeah, you can see kind of like at a glance of what's going to be blooming when. Let's see what else is important here. We have, I think, a map. No map. Never mind. I think this started as a map and then it was removed. But we have clearly a complex shape here, which is a house. We have the driveway. Do I have complex layers here? Structural elements. So you can hide kind of like your materials if you just want to get a glimpse of the plants. You can hide them to see kind of what it looked like before you do anything. And then let's see what else is important here. Yeah, you can see kind of how you can create these nice swooping curves, the regular shapes. What else can I show you? I don't want to get lost in too many things. We'll show you. We can go over a lot. Okay, so here's if you wanted to share your garden with somebody else, here is kind of what they would see if you just sent them the share link. So they're not able to edit anything, but they can see like, oh, I see they have a service berry. There it is. It's highlighted when I mouse over it. Or, here are the bluebells. Here's the wood fern. This is probably a good one also to see like the export of, because it gets pretty crazy. So let's go to export. And here we have, kind of this front page. In the non-organization version, it's made to print on a letter document. But if you're an organization, you have the option to print on larger formats. So let's see. We have waiting on these images, but you can see, this plant legend, which has all of the plants in your garden. Down here, the bill of materials, it'll tell you exactly how many of each. And then, okay, nice. I see our images came in. Now we can go back up and you can see pretty full. So this might be one where I say, I actually want to drill down into a specific part of the yard for multiple pages. So I'm going to snapshot it from the design. I can from the export page. I have the option to load it up. And then I say, let's do builder spec. And then I just want to zoom in on a specific part. You can also do this from the main garden planner page. There was an option in that menu, that ellipsis menu, for take snapshot. And that just kind of helps you like get to a specific area. So let's say I want that. Now I have kind of like a detail version of just this section of the design. So you can block out your export into multiple places and snippets from the design along with that same legend that you're working from with the big one. So yeah, this is taking a while. I wonder why. Other things on this page, this export builder allows for creating a pretty dynamic document. So you can kind of, oh, we got it finally. Let's say I want to add a page that's just, let's call it a content page. And let's call this zoom in on side garden. I can add that image that I just generated. And let's scroll all the way down to see this. There it is. Oh, our title didn't save. Side garden. All right. And let's actually give it a subtitle too, which is just right side of the house. If I wanted to, change the number of columns, I can do that. I can add extra text that's specifically about this garden. I can add multiple images. So yeah, the idea is that this page can be pretty flexible based on what you actually want. If you don't want a page, like if you don't want material estimates, you can just delete that. Bill of materials, you can edit the rows, you can delete the rows, you can rename anything that's there. So this is really like, this is your document that you get to control. So if you don't like how it's presented, you have the option to kind of tweak it and edit before taking it in hand and going to build your garden with it. So that's the export page. Let's go back. I do want to save time at the end just for some Q&A. So we can go over maybe a community garden quickly, and then I will go back and kind of open it up. So here are these community gardens again. This query also takes a while. I wonder why. Okay, cool. So now we're here. Let's look at this one. This is a real one that somebody made, which I find incredible. So I don't know what lot 18 is, but I like it. So they have, let's look at their layer structure. Great. Okay. Wow. So you can see they have all of their pathing. They've labeled it incredibly well. This section is for bikes, mailboxes. If we hide this, if we close this and then we hide this, now we see they gave the entire project a background of that mulch, and now we just have the plants. Grasses, that's great. They've broken it down by plant type. Flowers, shrubs, trees. So yeah, they decided to break their project down into layers by the plant type. I definitely saw one back here for, where is it? I wonder if I can find it, where they broke it down by phases, which I thought was very, very cool. Let's see. This is a nice border garden. Oh, here's one with a map. That's cool. Yeah. All right. So they've overlaid it right on top. So what happens with the map view? Oh, we can't do it because this isn't our garden. But you set a location, then you can zoom around, and then because Google Maps has its own limitation of how far you can zoom in, you can set your bounds, and it'll just add this as a layer to your page. And then if you want to tweak it, obviously you can go back to map view, toggle around, and then this allows you to zoom in much further. So yeah, this is something that they did right over top of. I guess let's see if we can hide. No, it's not gonna let us. That's okay. I think it's just a big field, and they decided to turn this into a giant meadow. So yeah, these are some of the things that people have made that you can do. All right, I will stop there, and yeah, thank you everyone for coming out. I feel like we've covered everything that we need to cover. I'm glad we got our little garden done as fast as we did, and we got to explore some of the more advanced features. But yeah, I think this was really great, and I hope you all learned something and you'll give it a try. All right. Bye, everybody.